Sup y'all, Link here with Gamer Gear. Okay, so after waiting about a week since ordering it, it's finally here. The abxylute gaming handheld, which is marketed to be kind of capable of playing Xbox, Steam, PlayStation through a remote play. And it could also play those Game Pass, Shadow, Nvidia cloud gaming as well. That's a lot of services. Now, it's doing all of this at around $200, where my version right here is a 64 gig internal storage, which cost me $219 at the time of this recording. Being at that price range, I really wanted to see what the device offered, because not only is it a good price point for a device like this, but it also has a 7-inch screen at 1080p, Hall trigger and joysticks, which means no drifting, but it also has an 8-hour battery, so you don't have to worry about charging it right away. That's gaming all day, baby. So without further ado, let's unbox this and check this out. Now let's start with an unboxing. Everyone loves a good unboxing, right? Now, when you open it up, all that comes inside the box is this instruction manual, showing some information on the device and what you could expect on it. And the device itself actually had a case, which I was pleasantly surprised. Wasn't expecting it, especially at this price point. And there it is, the good old system. I will say that first impression was okay, because you can clearly see the whole device is just kind of plastic throughout, nothing really special on it, you know, nothing that screams premium or, you know, gotta have, but it actually was quite comfortable. On the bottom, you'll notice a USB-C port, headphone, and micro SD slot, while on the top, you'll see a power and your volume buttons, and of course your triggers. Now, the device itself is actually pretty slim, and overall you see kind of some textured grip, so you can put your fingers in as you hold the device. Pressing it in, you know, there's enough give onto those triggers, those analog triggers, and it's a pretty short throw for the actual top buttons. But let's get right to it and turn it on. So I actually wasn't too sure how this is going to go down, because I knew it was powered by Android, but I wasn't sure how deep Android was mixed into this, if it was its own OS or something, but it actually turns out that it is essentially an Android device. So you would go through all the kind of setups that you would normally with it, set up for abxylute, but we got to this point and I'm like, 10 cent? I ain't trying to give 10 cent no info, but you know, eventually, obviously, if you want to get into it, I just went ahead and I succumbed to the 10 cents, and then we got right into it. Now, as the device is getting ready, I really wanted to kind of let this flow for you guys so you could see how it actually is for the setup. So for those of you that are really curious as to how to use it, you're going to see all the details over here, exactly how I saw it, teaching you how to do a screenshot right now, where if you press A over here, it's going to try to get into the screenshot menu. So I started just pressing onto the screen itself, teaching you a little bit about the navigation of the device. And this was actually a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't realize that the actual buttons themselves could light up. So that was a nice little touch, just to give it that extra little flair, especially if you're going to play at night, you know, being able to see it. So getting right into the menu, we're going to see the different apps that it actually has for us. Now, one of the first things that you're greeted with is actually telling you not to use the USB-C to USB-C type cable. I guess there's going to be some kind of issues if you start trying to charge your device with that. So they're trying to tell you to use kind of like the typical USB on one side and then the USB-C on the other. Now, the kind of apps that it has on the main page, it's not too much, as you guys have seen over here, but you know, I wanted to get right into the PlayStation app. So we got both the PlayStation and the PS Play applications loaded and set up. Now, part of the reason that I'm really doing these PlayStation apps is because I was very curious what the market has right now. that can reach that $200 price point that the PlayStation Portal is going to come out as, because this video is being released before the PlayStation Portal comes out. But one thing I noticed right off the bat once I started trying to use it is the fact that the device does not work with PlayStation, the official app, just off the rip, right? Just putting it on, putting the app, it doesn't work. So I had to do my due diligence and check. And yes, there was a system update. So make sure you do that, ladies and gentlemen. If you get your device, make sure to put that system update. But the good news is that once I got the system update in, it actually was working perfectly fine. So that was a bit of a relief. Because typically they want you to use the PlayStation controller, especially for PlayStation 5 games. So being able to kind of just use this device on there, typically that's where PlayStation gamers, if they want to use a different controller, they would use the PS Play app. And, you know, that would let you use different controllers. But if you guys are noticing with this footage, I was having a lot of like shakiness with the video. So I wanted to compare it to something that I know that actually works pretty well. So I pulled out my iPhone 14 Pro Max with the backbone controller just to see how it is, and it was working fantastic over here. You could kind of see how it looks great, but I also noticed how great the screen looks, which made me think, okay, I need to put up the brightness on the other device, on the Absolute, and it definitely looks better. As you guys can see over here, I mean, OLED superior, let's be honest. That's the reason why OLED is you know, doing what it does. But I also wanted to compare it over with my ROG Ally. And you can kind of see that I do think that the Absolute actually looks a little bit better when it comes to the colors and contrast on there. But the ROG Ally does have that 120 hertz screen, so it definitely felt a little bit smoother. But it's time to get into that PS Play app. And one of the great things about that app is you can change all the different kind of settings on there. And once I put that app on, I mean, this thing started looking better. So that's one of the caveats that I noticed with this, is that the official PlayStation app, it works. It doesn't work that good. If you use the PS Play app and you go ahead and just change the settings, you fine tune it, it's gonna work so much better. But now it's time to try something on the Xbox side of things. So I had to get into that Forza because that's just my game. But I also didn't realize how long the queue took, which was a little bit surprising, but hey, I guess that's the thing now because a lot of people want to be playing these games. But this was an absolute shock to me. I was like, hey, what's going on here? Like, why is the screen looking like this? I was thinking it's something to do with buffering in the beginning, so I was just trying to let it go for a little while to see if it would kind of clean itself up, but that issue persisted. So at this point, I was just curious if it worked, period. You know, I'm thinking to myself, is this the product? Is this the actual unit? Like, what is causing these issues? But thankfully, I realized, you know, once I kind of did the reload on there, it was working perfectly fine. So it was some kind of buffering error or connection error or something, but it did work on there eventually. Now, every time I do play these games off of Xbox Game Cloud, I'm, you know, the cloud gaming, I don't know, like this doesn't look as great as some of the other options out there. I'm never really impressed, and I get a lot of these like artifacting on there. Like, I do live out in Chicago, y'all, so I have a good network. You know, it's kind of strange, but this was also new to me too, how long the queues actually lasted. So I had to take a picture of that just to see what's up. But once I got into this new game, I got into the Sea of Stars, which I haven't put much time into it, but I wanted to see what a different game looks like. And you could kind of see the buffering problems once again that I kind of have, that it just kind of like pixelates in places. It kind of does the scanning on the screen sometimes to kind of fix itself. It's a little bit of an annoying problem. I mean, granted, that's probably why I don't play as much on the cloud gaming from Xbox. Okay, now that I've played with the device for a bit, I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure where I stand. I mean, for one, I'm just not really impressed with the device yet, but we are talking about $200. So it's got a lot going for it, but I think my problem is I'm more used to using devices that are about 4 times its price point. So I'm already a little bit skewed when it comes for me. Now, I do think they did a really good job with the design, just the size, the weight. I mean, the comfort, I would even say it's very close in feel to kind of like a Switch Lite, but I wasn't even really one to find that kind of form factor comfortable anyways, but you might. I will have to put this thing through its pacing, so look out for a full review. And now, I feel like I need to get a Logitech Cloud to see what $100 more gets you. For now, I'm kind of like somewhere in the middle with this device. Like, I look forward to kind of trying to win me over. Maybe when I can get the settings right, and I've already kind of added little thumbsticks over here to kind of make the height a little bit better for me. But until then, my name is Link with Gamer Gear, and just make sure to follow the channel if you want to stay up to date with more gaming gear in the future. So thank you guys for checking in, and we out.